Live? Is there going to be a live? Okay.
There's
Okay. Hello, hello, hello. We are live.
What's up?
Are we
How you guys
live?
doing? Hello.
Hello, YouTube. Well, today's guest would definitely take you to a trip down memory lane back to our days of Pogo. He's a science enthusiast, a tinkerer, a creative designer, and a great teacher. Prateek Sethi, ladies and gentlemen, the host of the show FAQ. Hello, sir. How are you today on this fine day?
I'm doing great, Chaitanya. Thank you for having me over. And please don't call me sir. Mat bulao yaar.
It's just a force of habit. No, I mean, okay. I'm going to have a little fanboy moment here. So it's like when we were small and we wanted to watch cartoons and stuff, our parents would be like, oh, that's a nonsense cartoon. Oh, this promotes violence and all of that. Your show was the only one where we could convince them that we're learning something and have fun at the same time. So it was great. And even on YouTube, recently I got a recommendation of an old episode of yours of that. How hard is it to separate two interleaved books with you and Crash? Oh, that was really fun.
Thank you so much. It was great for us to create it as well. We had a fantastic time. I mean, it's kudos to the team because it's never a one-man show, right? It's a full team effort that goes into these things. So really happy that we were given the opportunity to do that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so here we are going to have a couple of questions from our audience. But before that, I heard that you have something prepared for our audience.
Yes, I
A
do.
nice
I actually
live
have
introduction.
Yes, I have a little presentation. So should I go for it, or
Yes, by
is
all
there only a
means.
drum roll?
I hope I had audio here, but unfortunately I don't. So let's go with the.
Yeah, that's it. And we're going live. Okay. I'm going to share screen. Okay, I hope you guys can see this.
Yep, completely visible.
All right, fantastic. So, hi guys. Whoops, that was too fast. A button press. All right. So beyond the age of information is the age of choices. And that is exactly where we are right now at this moment in time. So what is my presentation about? It's a little bit about my past, a little bit about me, a little bit about comms design or communication design, and a whole lot about nothing. That's exactly what it is, because creativity is something that requires a fair amount of nothing to happen as well. So a little bit about my past. I'm your regular bloke who's had a fun childhood across India, used to do the odd science experiments. We even built our own little satellite models and stuff and won awards for our school. And did the usual plays and theater, and I was a noisy little critter for my parents.
Man, these are really cute
In
pics.
college, got into NID, which is the National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad. Out here, I really got to meet a lot of people and a lot of varied cultures from a lot of different backgrounds and a lot of skill sets. And that kind of really opened my horizon in terms of what possibly the human brain can do besides just pushing your imagination forward. And I chose visual communication design out here, and animation being my speciality. It was a great time. And as you can see, this is me with long hair. And I could grow it back then. And
Wow.
the picture on the left is how my close friend Apu puts it: root grew ass, rather than ass grew root. But having said that, it was fun. We learned about a lot of mediums, got to do a lot of graffiti, even got chucked out of the hostels for doing graffiti all over the campus. And but those are things which are all part and parcel of the game. So after I got off NID, I decided, like, yes, I can animate. Woohoo! I'm an animator. I'm the next generation of cool people who can move this Tyrannosaurus. But with doing that, I also realized that no, I can't animate. I've been working with these big companies like Pogo and Hangama and DI. I realized that, okay, look, I try to animate. I mean, I'm not really a particularly fantastic animator. And there's always client changes and things and all. But along with that, I realized, okay, I need to also do a lot more things like produce, direct, creative, arts, write, code, do people pick people's brains and so on and so forth. And it was quite hectic. And during this course, FAQ happened, which is a science-based show, one of the first few which to come to India, which modernized the whole DIY aspect of things, making science fun with a little bit of fun facts. I think you all know about it. I don't really explain it much. The fun thing that happened with this is I got to design my own sidekick, which is Crash. And a lot of iterations happened, and we finally came to this particular look and feel. This was the team. I'm missing a couple of the heads like Anju, Maya, and Amrish. But this is largely the team. And without a team, you don't have a show. And there's always one man standing in the front, like the showman. But you always have a dedicated and hardworking team behind. And Deepak, Mariam, Anu, Vibha, these guys really held it together. On the extreme left is one of the first few fan arts that I got, which was from Kabir Saini, which was really one of those key moments in my life, which I was like, so sweet. Of course, FAQ also gave me the chance to go in front of 10,000 people stages with a little balloon in my hand and try and explain to them surface tension, which in itself is a really funny concept. But coming back, you got to do a lot of things. I got to meet a lot of fantastic people and make science more fun. I think that was the key takeaway from those years. Along the way, we also started Trip, which is a communication design house. You can always check out the website to see the kind of amazing work that my team has been doing over the past decade. Award-winning lot, doing a lot of stuff. And as you can see, we do a lot of stuff, and we kind of decided that, okay, this all falls under comms design. So what is communication design, right? Communication design is basically mixed discipline between design and information, blah, 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 blah. But largely what it means is utilizing anything that strategically expresses information. What that is that you need to get your point across. And how do you get your point across, or how do you get somebody else's point into your head to be able to do something with it, is by using visual communication design as one of the mediums or set of smaller mediums that it has under it. And I'm a visual communication designer, so specializing in animation. There's film, graphics, web, and new media. New media has AR, VR, web, and so on and so forth as well. With that, this is one of the few films that I want to show you, which is what we made earlier on at Trip as one of our promos.
This video has been inspired by the Do-It-Yourself Cartoon Kit by Bob Godfrey. There, I said it. Trip Creative Services, if there is such a thing or company, presents the one and only, the all-in-one creativity kit. Now, here's your chance to be as creative as the next Joe. To avail this awesome product, just send us 1 rupee and 3 bottle openers to this address, and the kit will be sent to you free with a gift wrapper. I guarantee that if you are 5 or 155, you will enjoy this to no avail. If you are, however, any age in between, you might as well go and make use of the washroom, as this might not be of interest to you. Go make a deposit and join us once this is over. Remember, just send us 10 rupees, 5 paise and 2 soggy briefs to this address. The all-in-one creativity kit comes with its very own idea generator, idea copier, idea xeroxer, idea extractor, 25 directors, 20 animators, 10 developers, 5 photographers, 3 llamas, 2 homeless characters, 1 lemon squeezer, a complete sweatshop factory, and 100 excuses for the right occasion. Remember, just send us 100 rupees, 40 paise and 2 dancing interns to this address and get the early bird discount on pigeon poop. Yes, a whole box of pigeon poop to be applied across any format for as long as you please. Even if that wasn't enough, just to sweeten the deal, you'll also receive an incomplete half-baked app, 2 sheep, a bouquet of web feeds, the Taj Mahal, and your very own life-size replica of me, Jeff. All you have to do is pick me up and place in my head on top of you. There, easy peasy. Now you're nearly as creative as your friend making the deposit. For those of you who are still not convinced, I give you the limited time offer of receiving our patented bullshit sound pre-recorded onto an electronic beauty spot. It's extremely handy and can easily be concealed. It can be used for any occasion, such as we want something new. I love you, darling. It needed to be done yesterday. All you have to do is send us 6,999 rupees and 97 pesos along with 3 limited edition bottles of stress to this address. Now remember, it's really easy. The all-in-one creativity kit will let loose your innermost creative desires. Oops, seem to have left that one on by mistake. Now, where was I? Ah, yes.
It will bring out the origin of new.
We make it a point of honor never to keep our promises, so here's a sneak peek into creativity for all of you. That's all I have to say.
Bullshit.
The best I can do is tell you about our real services, but for that you need to go to www.wearetrip.in. Get on with it. We're certainly getting it on.
So so that was one of the films that we used to send out earlier on, and even with it being borderline edgy, we still had the good opportunity to have a lot of clients working with us, and we still do, and some of them have continued with us for the long run as well, which has been really good to know, because there is space for creativity and all kinds of creativity. So it's not just very one or unidirectional, so to speak. Some of the things that we've been working on recently is called Folktales of India. This is something that showcases different art forms from different regions of India, along with the story tale of that region. So say, for example, if the tale is from say Tamil Nadu, then it's been illustrated in the Tanjavur style of paintings. So what we've tried to do is try and keep sort of core and real to that location as well in terms of its storytelling. So do check it out. It's a nice showcase of the beauty of India and our art forms and the storytelling that we have. It's a ongoing series, and it's always being developed in-house at some point or the other.
I actually didn't know what communication design was before. This is pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure our audience would also be loving it. We have comments rolling in on YouTube. Everybody loves it.
Okay. So do you want me to continue, or should I stop?
Yes, you can continue. I think we have a few more minutes.
Okay, great. So awesome. So and then we also have this YouTube channel called Prateek Sethi India, which is fairly longish channel name, but I guess that's what people thought was right. And that's where I do all the science related little things and tricks and DIYs, which we couldn't put on TV. So on FAQ, we had a time limit, right? Because it's television. So we could only do certain things of a certain time and duration. But with YouTube, we were able to just expand that out to hours and hours of content. And that was the fun part. And that's what we've done out here. So if you have the time to check out the channel as well, it's got lots of DIYs happening in there. There's also something else that I'm very motivated about, is the Animators Guild, which is a showcase of all the animators from India that we're trying to showcase in terms of the great work that's happening in our country. It's a platform that, unlike other platforms which just are so West-oriented or East-oriented, where we're fair and center in terms of being India-oriented. So that's another initiative that we're fairly proud of. Going forward, in terms of letting creativity, just because I'm an animator and a communication designer who's now a creative director, doesn't mean that I can't design T-shirts. And we actually designed our own line of T-shirts as well, which I realized later was actually a terrible business to get into, because the margins are too low and the volumes needed to be too high. So I said, okay, bhai, acha hua, bana liya 3 T-shirt. In fact, ek pehna hua bhi hai abhi, but it's not a business model for me. The future of comms, right? So it's going to be about AR, VR, 360, about immersive. And there's a lot of things that we're doing as well in immersion. The world itself is moving a lot in terms of technology coming to our aid to be able to build these scenarios. But the how do I put it? The consumption is something which is still limited at the moment.
So you've got different videos that you can click in, and you can also.
This is just an example
human being interactive,
of a video which is interactive, in which you can make a human being act according to what you want them to do.
Like you can click on video, and you can.
That's pretty cool.
And this is all for immersive. So yeah, so this is another usage of immersive technologies as teaching aids. We've built this one for one of the kids festivals, in which the idea was to show how space sounds can be, space doesn't have sound, but it has waves, right? And these electromagnetic vibrations that pulsate is something that can be caught and heard. And we built this app so that you could literally be in space. So you wore this headgear on your face, and you could hear the sounds coming from Earth. You could hear the sounds coming from the nebulas. You could hear what sun sounds like. So that's the power of comms and communication design in terms of even teaching aids. The future is only going to get more and more technology driven, but we need to remember that we're human beings, and everything still starts with our imagination and our creativity. So remember to always think. I mean, it's a very standard line. Everybody says it: think different, think different. I know it's like it's fairly thrown out there, but just keep pushing your own personal boundaries, because I think you are your worst enemy. So you need to just keep pushing yourself further, stronger, harder, so that you can improvise, adapt, and overcome any obstacle that comes your way. And finally, I'm just gonna leave you with a video that is very close to my heart, because I've not been able to swim for the past year and a half. So this is something that I did during the lockdown. So those of us who love swimming and are missing it, sorry guys, it's some time, I guess, before we can get over this, but we must. You can reach me at Coco Talk on Instagram, or Prateek Sethi India on YouTube, or just check out the website. Thank you so much, and over to you guys.
Well, that was great, and especially you made the app for those school students where they could experience space in real life and all. That's like a dream come true, really. That's really how I wish I learned science, like about the solar system of planets. I really experience the whole thing. That would really get the experience to me and learn properly. Well, we have questions flowing in. Vijay asks, "Hi guys, Vijay here from TEDx to Plari Bangalore. Do put in your..." Okay, never mind. That was just him asking everyone to ask questions. They will come.
Yeah, so as a teaching aid, right? AR, VR has a lot of potential, because we're only going to get more immersed. And yes, you need to have off time, like you need to have screen off time. But when you're on the screen, you should make use of it. We've not even touched the tip of the iceberg yet.
Exactly. That's very true. There are many companies these days also looking to go into AR, VR, and we see all these ads from all big shot tech companies as well, because AR is the future, because you can visualize it happening in front of you. Exactly. And even if you're at home, you can get a real life experience, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly.
So, well, now it's time for our audience to send in a couple of questions. Just waiting for them to come in. Aha, Ashwin Kumar Upala has asked the big question: can we have a new season of FAQ?
So, okay, so how to answer this? The answer is actually with Pogo and Cartoon Network. They have Crash. They have stolen him from me and Deepak and the rest of the team, and he's in a go down. With Pogo,
justice for Crash.
Yeah, hashtag release him now. But yeah, so it's up to them, literally, for them to be able to come up with more content. Is something that I don't think should be a challenge, but they need to take that decision as broadcasters.
No, I mean, we would love it. It would just be like nostalgia all over again, and it'd just be beautiful to have the show once again. Okay, next question. Okay, Satvik Bhatt asks an interesting question. What do you think is the most important aspect in developing a new technology, say like VR or AR, like you just said?
Human beings. Human beings are the most important aspect. because a lot of the times when we get so excited with technology, we forget the fact that there is an end user. So we need to always design the technology keeping the human being in mind. So that it's not wasteful. It's not it's not destroying certain things. At the same time, it just doesn't go so advanced that you've completely lost touch with the end user, and then the interface in itself becomes an issue. But look, those are all secondaries. First, even when anybody is building a new tech or a new innovation, you're in the experimental stage. So just being out there and building is important, but at somewhere it has to round off to being human.
That's very true. If there's no end user, there's no point of making new things. Yeah. All right.
You can make things. There is a point to it. Make it, but it's just at some point round it up. Because otherwise you're just you're a happy mad scientist sitting in his little shack making things. So or tinkering, which is also fun, but it's just human beings are important.
Aha, we have the big question. Jiraiya Sensei asked, who plays the role of Crash?
So I keep answering this every time. Crash was a vision. He, she, it. I don't know. I mean, the machine. I love calling him, but it's dependent on how you want to gender it. But Apache helicopter. But you know what I'm saying. But like, it's just Crash was an entity, was a vision that was as real as television allows, and parts of him were built by Anand sir and by my inputs and my little tinkering as well, and by the scientists of Baba. But there were parts of him which were also as real as television allows. So it's a combination of things.
Well, for those of you who are wondering what Apache helicopter is,
I don't plan to answer it also. so I don't plan to answer that question at all.
Well, that was kind of expected, but I was trying to extract that if I could. All right, the next question. Shrey Tripathi asks, how long do you think it will take for AR, VR to replace real life? Well,
completely replace? I doubt it. I doubt that will happen. But physical meetings anyways are headed there. Like right now, when we have high-level meetings with some of the bigger clients, we do get into VR rooms in which ideas can be drawn on and built on at that moment. Say, for example, if a client is sitting across continents, it becomes easier to discuss things in a virtual space. So that is definitely there, but it's still very nascent. Yeah. So again, as with most technologies, it will take its 20-30 year cycle for it to reach somewhere of mass.
True. I mean, well, Shrey, bad news is we aren't going into the movies very soon, but yeah, we're getting there. Aishani asks if Crash. She asks if Crash is an acronym.
It can be.
Like Jarvis was an acronym, so we thought Crash could also be an acronym.
In fact, you know what, Aishani, if you want to, come up with a really good one, we could probably make it into a contest and I could put it up on social media. Why not? But it's up to you.
Well, Aishani also asks, what was your most interesting project you worked on while at FAQ, which was your most interesting episode, maybe?
So actually, the most interesting project was something that never made it to television. We were trying to build our own aeroplane, right? Because I love flight, and I've been wanting to fly an aircraft and build one. I mean, I've built a few, but built one proper human carrying aircraft for quite some time. And back then, we'd gotten in touch with DRDO gentlemen. We'd gotten in touch with India's foremost propeller designer. And we'd gotten in touch with a couple of mech engineers from NDA to just figure out how we could build something which would carry a human being and yet not be a dangerous aspect for it being information given out because it gets dodgy in terms of security and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So we kind of came very close. We got our propeller built. We took the Scooty engine, a second-hand Scooty, broke down the engine, put it together, rewired it a little bit, got the whole thing fixed. Built the framework out of carbon fiber as well. But when it came to the winging stage, in terms of checking it out, we had to kind of kill the whole idea because legal didn't allow it. Because legal was like, this is too dangerous. So this the most fun project was working on this aircraft, which never really happened.
Well, that's sad to know, but I hope there's still time in life, and maybe we'll see it in the near future.
Yes, for sure.
Sai Ritvik asks, do you think attention spans have reduced a lot these days, given that we've been spending more time online? And how long it would take to adapt to AR and VR tech?
Okay, so I'm gonna roll back a little bit on this one. When we started in television and in film, television especially, we were told that the attention span of an individual, young adult, say 18 to 24, during our time was approximately 2 minutes, right? And that's our time, year of our Lord, many moons ago. But by around 2010, it had come down to about 1.5 minutes to 90 seconds, right? And over 2015, when we last did the check, it was at 45 seconds. So what's happened is that attention spans are reducing at the end of and I hope we don't turn into Dory by the end of it, in which we're literally whatever. But so attention spans are reducing, and what that ends up happening in terms of comms is that you get very little time for the hook. Now, in terms of designing anything, especially when it's visual communication related, you need to hook. You need to get the eyeballs, right? And then when you get the eyeballs of the viewer to your creative instantly in less than so much secondage is called a great hook. Which means that when you see an ad or you see a graphic design or a promo, and you instantly are like, "Oh, kya cheez hai yaar, ye to bahut tod banaya," like, or whatever. I mean, like whichever you want to, my God, that's a brilliant piece of creative, or whichever way you want to, you perceive your vision of consuming this information. What ends up happening is that duration for the hook is also reducing. Which means that it's getting more and more aggressive and difficult because there's so much more data being put in. And when I say data, there's Insta, YouTube, Facebook, and all these other platforms. There's Snapchat, and there's these 15-second reels and everything going on. So in effect, it's just getting more exciting, right? Because there's a lot more things that are happening on screen. So what happens is that online also, when you're spending your time online also, you're constantly moving from article to article, shuffling, going through data and so on and so forth. And you'll notice that AR has already started coming in there. For example, we recently did a campaign for Skoda Kushaq, and we made the whole car in AR. And it was like a massive Insta, filter thing in which you could just put the car as a filter on top. And while you're stuck at home in the lockdown, you could visualize yourself in the car in these different locations, like on the Himalayas or under the sea, taking your car there under a submarine or whatever. So it is already being used to expand on our imagination. So it's made its inroads. It's not very heavy inroads because again it's still cumbersome, right? Because you're like, oh, pehle ye karna padega, fir wo karna padega, fir ye kholo, fir wo karo, VR headset pehno, ye karo. I mean, the classic rule that goes in comms for online is the lesser the number of clicks, the better your product will do. And for you to get into AR and VR, you still need quite a few clicks. So there is still some time for you to be able to get into a space. But as teaching aids, as tools for people to learn about things and for explaining concepts, both of them are working fantastically because the viewer, the audience, the person who wants to join is already immersed in the thought of wanting to do something, like take an action, right? So they're already ready for that piece of information. So in that, they help really well as learning tools.
True. I mean, everyone's visualizing someone taking a phone like Tony Stark doing this, and the whole room will explode with VR and AR.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
we're a while away from that.
Not really actually. This thing, right, of sliding information off your phone into an AR space is already being done. So there's Adobe Spark. I think if you've heard of the software. So you can, I mean, at a very consumer level, you can play with that software to actually create these kind of scenarios for yourself, which are there are people who are already testing how I move my phone over a poster, and I can already get it graphically, digitally there in terms of it being a vector image. So those tests are already on. It's just that this information will, not information, sorry, this programming, these APKs, these modules will be released step by step, so that there's greater consumption.
True. We have a dicey question. Do you prefer your fries with ketchup or mustard?
I know this one. This person I know really well asking this question. She happens to be my wife, by the way, who's asking this question. It's the same Joy Gupta plus there are like 5 more Joy Guptas and I need to hide somewhere. But uh, no, do I prefer my fries? Both. I prefer them with both. Thank you very much. And the reason why she says I ask this is because whenever I'm interviewing anybody for the company, I like to know what they like their fries with ketchup or mustard, or like how do you like your dosa? Do you like your dosa outside? I mean, like when you're having idli dosa, do you like your dosa your sambar outside with your
On the
idli,
plate
like
or in a bowl,
inside,
yes.
outside, like medu vada? Like it tells a lot about a person how they mix their food. So yes.
Well, deep answer. Okay, the next. All right, next question. Jai Shankar Sundaram asks, hello, sir. What are the techniques like design thinking that you apply to get actual reach and value to customers?
Okay, so this is a good one. So all right, so the design process, right, is extremely important. Now, beyond the whole happy ha 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 he he hoo that goes on, design in itself is an extremely methodical process, and what that requires is multiple iterations of the design process circle, which keeps happening. In which, very briefly, I'm going to just say is that you have a problem, and what is design, right? Design is finding solutions to a problem, right? I mean, the
Yes.
larger picture sense, it's not just the aesthetics of like ye bahut acha dikh raha hai. No, it's actually solving a problem. So you find solutions, and that's what design is about. Now, how do you go about finding solutions? You go about finding solutions in a methodical way, which is charted out. Like, so you have ideation, you have brainstorming, you have feedback cycles. You come back, you go back to prototyping, you start prototyping again, you do a feedback cycle, you come back, you look at it in a different way, you get another test group in. So in itself, it's a fairly large process, but in a nutshell, you brainstorm. That's one of the key things that you should run. And brainstorming should be devoid of prejudice. It should be like whatever ideas come into your head, like um, I don't know, a lamp stacked on a table dancing is an idea which is randomly just come into my head. But you put it down, you jot it all randomly down, and from there, after that is when you start sifting things and getting pulling out data which is useful, and then you sift it again and get more data which is useful, and basis that then you start prototyping. Once you've done with your prototype, then you get into actual feedback loops, right, which is like finding out like, okay, is this actually useful? Am I making this dancing lamp just because I want a dancing lamp, or will it actually walk with me when I'm walking around and dancing behind me, so that nobody has to look at me and they're all just like looking at the lamp, so I can sneak away, whatever, I mean, whatever the use case might be. So accordingly you build these things, and after that then you need to come back. And I'll tell you something, a design is something that as a designer I can tell you will never be perfect. We will always find flaws in it. So it gets really murky there. But asking the questions, asking the users that, look, what exactly is it, does this work for you, and is this actually meant for this person, then we design accordingly. And I can give you an example. Another example of this is with FAQ. As for instance, we found out that a lot of our audience was actually tier 1, tier 2 cities. It wasn't actually tier 4, tier 5 cities. So we didn't have to work that extra hard to use the kind of language or to work the certain scenarios in a particular way, we kind of figured that yes, our audience is intelligent, so we don't need to break it down like super simplified. Yes, of course, we always kept that little boy in Raipur as our target, but we made sure that look, that little boy in Raipur is also an intelligent bloke, yeah. So he's going to grow up to be an intelligent kid, so we'll design accordingly. So those are things that you always work. And then we had people going to Raipur to find out, like, okay, hang on, are you guys even watching this? Are we designing for the right target? So
Yeah,
things to keep in mind.
that's true. So at the end of the day, it's always the end user that's key, and you have to design around that. Yeah. So the next question. Maurya Patel asks, how are you able to manage humor and tech at the same time? Tech talk at the same time.
ये मेरी त्वचा का खेल है, त्वचा. How am I supposed to do it? I don't know how I do it, man. I just have life's too short to take things too seriously. That's something that I learned fairly earlier on in life. So you have to make sure that your team, and everybody you're interacting with is having a good time at the end of the day. So, and when I say good time, it's not like, oh, let's just chill, have a couple of beers. No, it's more like, okay, let's just do what we need to do and do it well. And it doesn't need to be a high stress scenario. So when you're talking about tech, also it's at the end of the day, it's humanizing it, right? And that humor is part of being human.
True, and you are definitely the master of that. So no doubt about that.
Thank you. But no, there are better ones also. So,
well, you're one of the masters then. It's good to have someone, who can make learning fun, because that's probably one of the most important things. And like someone else said in the previous question, that online learning attention spans are getting low. So once you get in humor and you get a lot of interaction and, get the crowd interested, that really would help a person learn.
And it does. Without that, it just becomes so drab, right? You're like, just like, matlab, theek hai,
exactly.
Kar kya rahe hain?
But without that, people just mute the class and go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, and I really, so out of the gazillion, thank you so much, I've had such great teachers over the years, and I've had some really good ones. But the ones that I really remember are the ones who used to humor us, who used to, even when they were beating the crap out of us, they used to humor us. Like I've gotten beaten by almost, well, not almost, but quite a few of my teachers, right? And and thank you so much for it. At the end of the day, I'm not saying like, oh, it's good to beat up students, but I'm just saying that it was funny nonetheless, because you were just like, otherwise it'd just be boring. And I don't mean like hitting being boring, but the fact that they used to always be jibing and like, just bolte na pair pull karna. Wow, I just
true.
language Hindi. Oh, such terrible. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. So
that's all right.
Yeah.
Well, we had a lot of fanboy comments when you were talking and answering this question, saying you're the light of their childhoods and all of that. But yes,
potato hearts for you guys. Lots of potato hearts.
Well, Arhant Arora asks, how can communication design be used in these tough times? Very valid.
It is being used. Look at us right now, where we've got technology aiding us over screens, and we're talking on a laptop, right? And we're also doing virtual conferences, and we're doing virtual launches. Like since last year itself, we've had the good pleasure to launch 6 cars for Skoda, right? Which have all been virtual launches. And then, of course, the on-ground sales and the big teams, the Skoda teams doing what they do best, take over. But the actual launches have all been online, because it makes no sense to have so many people into one room, because of the times that we are in right now. People are launching events. Learning is happening. One great thing that's happened because of comms design, and of course of where we are right now, is this. Earlier, we would never have thought about doing an online session, but now we can do online sessions with people sitting in US, in UK, in Tehran, in wherever across the world, in Russia, right? You can have speakers from all over the world because now it's possible to do that. And I mean, of course, it's got to do a lot with internet speeds as well, but yeah, it's possible.
It's very true. I mean, even as the committee, like the TEDx committee that we have, generally it would be a really big hassle to get speakers. We'll have to fly them in, give them hotels, and take care of them, take care of us, and big budget everything. Now it's like literally free of cost. We're able to communicate with like thousands of people. So yeah, you can see
Exactly.
live the use of communication design.
Exactly, and education has become and there's a flip side, right? Again, if you're from a medium to a well-to-do household, it's fantastic. You've got the internet, you've got all of that. The flip side is for the low-income households, for our poorer countrymen, it's still a bit of a challenge because this made it worse because they could earlier go to college or go to school, but which now they have to really fight for the internet for. So yes, everything is hand in hand, but as future leaders of this country, which you all are going to be, you need to think of both sides. And comms design has helped a lot in the past 2 years, and technology has also propelled a lot, but we need to carry our brethren along with us. I mean, that's very important.
Very true, very true. Oh, someone wishes, Ashani wishes that you were a professor in their college. Well, yeah, I do too, honestly.
Guys,
because every morning it's like waking up, muting the class, and sleep.
Sir, I'm very good in short spurts. After 2 hours, you're like, hey, kya hai? Bore kar raha. This is, yeah, but I'm pretty sure that again, take from these learnings, you can push yourselves forward as well. We used to find jokes and please, I know this is going live right now, but like for example, some of our boring professors and teachers back in the day, we used to actually work about how do we keep ourselves entertained. Is we used to make jokes in our heads about them to be able to pull that data out, because otherwise how can you do it? So this is where your imagination actually helps you kickstart a lot of things.
Well, Jugaad tactics being exposed over here. That's
yeah, pretty much.
Murli Jayam asks, how do you work cross-functionally with developers, copywriters, project managers, etc.? Work with a lot of people.
So it's fun. It's like somebody earlier said that you have to manage humor. It's an extremely important aspect of things to have, because each one is a rock star in their own right, and in their own teams and in their own skill sets. So I think the ground rule that I follow is I let people do what they're good at. I don't like to micromanage. I mean, I do micromanage people when they're young and they're inexperienced, which is, you have to do that until they get their footing in. But once that's done, then, it's just, I let them do what they're doing. I mean, pretty much I'll give them like, look, this is the vision. And this is coming from a creative director's standpoint. I'll tell them, look, this is the vision. This is what needs to be done. This is how I feel this could be done. But I want your opinion on it. I want you to tell me how this can be done. And I think that's extremely important, because they themselves then they take an onus to it, an onus to the project. And if a person takes an onus to anything, they start believing in it. And once they start believing in it, that's pretty much my job done, because then what they're coming up with is a gazillion ideas and a gazillion ways of working. And I just have to direct them in the right way for the brand to be happy as well. So how do I work cross-functionally with them? I let them do their job. I mean, we have these huddles and meetings every once in a while, but at the end of the day, it's not like, acha, ab batao tumne kya kiya hai. I mean, I'll do that to the really junior guys, but to the older guys, I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Okay, this doesn't fit in brand, man. It's a fantastic idea, but we'll use it for some other brand. Let's park that. Let's work this way. And or that piece of code is beautiful. Like right now, we're developing our own trip website. It's a new website that's coming up, and it's been on the back burner for 2 months now because we've just been busy with some other projects. And I mean, the code that this boy has written, Pranoy, who also has helped us a lot. He's part Happy Building, the series that I'm doing on YouTube, and he's brilliant. So he's written this little piece that I really want to showcase to the world, saying that haha, humne banaya hai. But aega usko bhi samay aega. So you keep it happy and light even with the delays.
True. These are very nice Words of wisdom for all our budding leaders coming up in the chat. Okay. Hungry Pigeon, interesting name. Hungry Pigeon says, how important is being cool and calm at work?
Um,
Similar question to the previous one.
Yeah, it is very similar. So it's extremely important for me to be very calm and cool at work. I've had bosses who've been complete firebrands and Tasmanian devils in their own right. Even that works. I mean, it does, because I still like them a lot. And even when I was working under them, it was fairly clear that, like, there was a lot of beautiful French and other languages between exchanged. But at the end of the day, we got the job done and we did a good job of it. So, it's a school of thought, right? And I adhere to the cool and calm and the enjoyable ones. But I can tell you for a fact that there are moments when you lose your cool as well, yeah, because we're human beings at the end of the day. So it's important to keep it cool and calm, so that it's just a amicable place to be working at. And people work best when they're happy, right? I mean, or not happy, at least they're motivated, because you don't have to be happy all the time, otherwise you'd be an energizer bunny. So I mean, that's just.
I mean, if we're recognized and we know that what we are doing is valid, then obviously we'll work more harder and motivated towards the goal.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, like I keep telling this to my crew all the time, is that, look, you're here because you are brilliant at something, or you're getting to be brilliant at something. So just put your bloody head into it and let's be brilliant at it. Why are you wasting your own time? Like, I don't mind, it's okay, but it's your time you're wasting, not mine. So
very true. Yash Kaushik asks, is there any skill you want to acquire so badly that you discovered very recently?
So I recently, I was reading Jim Corbett's Omnibus. In fact, I'm still in the middle of it. And there is one part about, and throughout the book, he's obviously tracking tigers and leopards, and there's a couple of chapters on fishes as well. But pug mark tracking is something that I've just rediscovered. So I've lived in very close to wildlife reserves when I was a kid, like a very small kid. But never had the chance to, because I was so young, never had the chance to actually deep dive into it, because we had forest rangers who would help us out and say, like, ye dekho beta, ye hai. But like it never became like, oh, okay, kya hai ye, kyun hai? And just recently with reading this book, it's become like, okay, I really want to know how they track tigers by just seeing the pug mark. Yeah, because Corbett could see a pug mark and tell the age, tell the, obviously because of the amount that goes into the soil, the weight, the limp, the quality of the fur. And he could also tell the tracking directions that the tiger followed, or leopard, or I mean, big cat. So jungle tracking is something that I'm feeling fairly certain that I want to learn as a skill set.
You need great observation, but it seems like you need to be a Sherlock for the jungle for it.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's just it's crazy. Like it's that's a brilliant. It's a good idea. So, yeah, Sherlock of the jungles.
That's what I thought. I mean, you said he sees the pug mark and tells the age and everything. Sherlock also, he saw the scratch on Watson's foot and told he went to Syria. So that's crazy. Yeah?
Exactly. That's what observation is the key here, and it's beautiful. So yeah, definitely want that skill set.
Yeah, that's definitely one that everyone wants. Okay, next question. Hungry Pigeon again.
Hungry Pigeon's quite
He's
hungry.
chill today. Yep.
Yeah.
When will we see you on TV again?
When will you see me on TV again? I have actually not auditioned, applied, or done anything to push myself in front of the camera for the past 6-7 years. Because I mean, after Pogo happened, after Cartoon Network happened, after FAQ happened, there was a brief moment in time when I was doing other shows, and then I just got like, you know what, I'm enjoying it being behind the camera a lot more. So off late, I've pretty much been spending my energies being good at what I do behind the camera. So am I going to be in front of the camera? Maybe a cameo here and there, but am I actually looking to be the host of a show? Not really. It's not in my radar right now. So I'm really enjoying being behind, and it's definitely more how do I put it? It's more cathartic.
Well, we loved it while it lasted. Oh wait, there's another question. Jiraiya Sensei, when are you going to start FAQ 2.0? I think that's already been answered. He'd love to do it. All right, then, guys. This has been a brilliant experience for me. I never thought I'd interact with a celebrity ever, let alone host one, and that to a childhood star. So, thank you so much for joining us today here, for giving us almost an hour of your time. Yes, same here. And yeah, I wish you luck in your future endeavors, and I hope you really build that plane. I want to see it.
I'll take you flying, man. Stay in touch.
Yes, surely, of course.
Thank you for having me over, and thank you for everything, guys. Thank you for watching the show. I think if any of the crew members are watching this, they'll be saying it from the bottom of their heart. Thank you so much for watching the show. We had to really fight hard to have such content on television in India, and we're so happy that you guys actually enjoyed it. So a big shout out from me, the crew, and everybody. So thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. All right, guys, that was it with Mr. Prateek Sethi on our stream with TEDxWIT Bangalore today. And do join us on the 15th of August for another special stream with photographer Sonali Devnani. And until then, ciao.